Hi, Matt Mahoney here, and this is my presentation on network security and the importance of awareness in a digital society. Uh, I could literally go on for days on the broad range of information that network security umbrellas, but what I chose to do instead was highlight a couple things that I think are probably the most relevant and probably most widely known. Some not so widely known, but we're going to keep it short and simple and just kind of, uh, I guess, have a nice little presentation here. So I believe, in my opinion, it's totally my opinion, that there are most cyber attacks or network threats could be classified into one of two categories. There's data theft and there's vandalism. Now with well, actually, there's more than a couple categories. Like I guess spying. Somebody could be spying on you with the government, or I don't know, the other government or people. I don't. I. But for the sake of the presentation, we'll just stick with the two: data theft and vandalism. So there's two. Data theft targets uh, businesses, individuals, sometimes even using the business to get to an individual. Vandalism. Vandalism sucks. I said it. Vandalism is more of a pain in the ass. I would rather have somebody steal my social security number than have to sit through a DDoS attack on a service that I'm trying to use. Uh, just because I know that I could get my social security stuff figured out, like I could get it all, like we're good, we're insured, but I can't get back my time. And even though even though with data theft, me having to like go through the process of recovering my lost, personally identifiable data, I, I, I would rather that happen than try to log on to Xbox or God knows one of the other web services I enjoy using in my off time, and not be able to access it. Because then I'd have to like read a book or go outside or something, and I can barely read. So, uh, but vandalism includes direct denial of service attacks, which usually involve something called a botnet, but we'll get into that later. Website defacement, which in a way can also be data theft because via website defacement or even direct denial of service attacks, when directed at a company, especially like a company's web service web page, uh, loss in revenue, we're talking loss in consumer faith, we're talking loss in, I guess, consumer trust and consumer faith are pretty similar or whatever. With data theft, we're talking more like ID theft, once again, like the social security card numbers, medical records, bank accounts, credit card. So the thing that used to be really big in the mid 2000s or whatever, it was called carding. There was a website, carterplanet.com, and it was probably one of the biggest. No, I guess it was the biggest organized crime ring that occurred in the cyber world, and it was essentially the theft and the replication of thousands and millions of dollars worth of stolen credit card information. So I've chosen to highlight a couple examples here. With data theft, there's Operation Night Dragon. China hates us. And then the Target breach, we all remember from I think it was a couple Christmases ago, where some hackers targeted Target. That's ironic. And subsequently exposed thousands upon thousands of customer and consumer private data, bank accounts, birth dates, stuff like that. For the vandalism, I chose to highlight as examples. Just last week, there was a county in Wisconsin that their sheriff's website was hacked, and the web page that's normally there was replaced with an ISIS "I love you" letter. And then I'd also like to target, because this one still pisses me off, is the Xbox Live denial of service attack that happened Christmas morning right after Destiny came out. So mad. So here we got, there's a nice little picture of some communist China people hacking away, it looks like. Just kidding. Okay, so data theft, like I said. Okay, Operation Night Dragon, data theft example. So around 2009, it was noticed that there were a number of probes and attacks on global oil, energy, and petrochemical companies that appeared to be originating out of China. What's cool about, and this is why I highlighted this example, is they actually used social engineering. They use spear phishing, which is technically a form of social engineering where you target a specific individual instead of like throwing your cast out there and just hoping you catch some fish. Like, you are actually targeting somebody and then going after them directly with social engineering techniques. Phishing, obviously, from the name, phishing, spear phishing. They also were exploiting a vulnerability found in Microsoft Windows operating system, Active Directory. Also, they were using they're called RATs, which actually stands for Remote Administration Tools. It's kind of like remote desktop. Think about like remote desktop, except you don't know that it's happening, and they're there in your system. Okay, well, essentially though, the MO behind all of this was they were harvesting sensitive information, proprietary, competitive, operational information on project financing and in regards to oil and gas field bids and day-to-day operations globally. So I thought that was a pretty good example for data theft. Vandalism, these poor people in Richland County, Wisconsin. So some hacker team named Team System DZ out of Algeria decided that Richland, Wisconsin was going to be the target to spread their pro-ISIS message. I don't even think I could find Richland County, Wisconsin on a map. But yet they got them, and so instead of going to the Wisconsin Richland County government websites, when attempting to, you were presented with the nice little message here. I love you, Jihad and Islamic State. Hello, Richland Center. Got back. Remember those words well. The Islamic State will not show. You know, if you're gonna go after public service, I don't know how many people in Richland. That's right, Richland County, Wisconsin, were too upset that the sheriff's website was hacked, nor did they even probably notice. But that's a form of vandalism. That's my example for vandalism. Okay, so data theft. There's personal data theft, there's commercial data theft. And basically, it's defined as the unauthorized taking or interception of computer-based information. And I actually got that definition from Techopedia. And there's thousands of definitions out there. It was pretty much the best one I could find. And we already went over some of the different forms of data theft. We'll do it again real quick. Intellectual property, pirating songs, music, guess same thing. Movies, applications, software, video games, social security numbers, bank records, consumer databases. Did I say bank? I said bank records. So I mean, yeah, it's data theft. Data theft sucks, but I'd rather be a victim of data theft any day than vandalism, because vandalism just makes me mad. So vandalism, like we said, website defacement, denial of service attacks, and so the definition that I found for vandalism, which I actually equated to being theft, as it steals time, effort, and patience, especially my patience. On Christmas morning, I was trying to play Destiny. So it's defined though as a disruption or defacement of online services motivated by malice, propaganda, or bragging rights. Not so much now, but in the mid to early 90s, late 90s, in certain circles, like it was, you could get, street cred for taking down or not even taking down, but changing a web page, to your tag name, or get cyber street cred. Ultimately, though, cyber vandalism can result in lost capital, lost customers, and once again, I've highlighted the fact that I think that direct denial of service attacks are infuriating. And real quick, denial of service refers to an attack that overwhelms like a system with data, mostly requests, simultaneously sent to a web service that causes its pages to, or causes the web server to simply crash or overload, become inoperable, fail to function as it struggles to keep up and respond to more requests than it can handle. And once again, Blizzard Squad 2 Christmases ago, man, oh man. Actually, it was another cyber infamous character. It was the Kim.com paid Lizard Squad in Kim.com bucks, I guess, which are worth some nominal amount on his mega upload web storage. What is that? Web storage, the media file storage servers. So he basically paid them off because he wanted to play Destiny 2, and they did. They pulled the plug, and Destiny came back online, and they ended up catching Lizard Squad. The funny thing was, they were a bunch of little kids. They were like under 17, and their excuse was that they wanted to teach Microsoft a lesson for taking everybody's money and not focusing on security. That's probably not the way to teach people lessons, as they're finding out probably now. On probation still. Or jail. So let's talk about some of the different techniques that web attackers, or I hate the word hackers, that attacks against web-based services are typically deployed. So there are several different methods that a hacker can utilize to commit like a cybercrime. One of the most easiest methods out there is password cracking. And I chose password cracking because it is like it's the most widely, it's the easiest way in. I also chose web application attacks because just about anything online is a web application. I go ahead and define a web application as an online service that, performs a function for, a user. So like, I guess just about anything. But like even a forum. Like a forum site could be a web application, or like, okay, Amazon, eBay, obviously web applications. Then there's other ones like, let's say Reddit, web application. Mine draws a blank. Facebook, web application. And what makes these attacks so successful is it's not it's not like this magic button that somebody hits. It's the fact that to be able to host these web applications, there's so many moving parts that need to be all lined up just right and configured and patched and updated just right that only narrows down the chance of them being successfully targeted and attacked, because I honestly leave nothing secure. I also highlighted denial of service attacks because I hate them, and they happen all the time. All the time. The people who do that, I cannot. Infuriating. Infuriating. So angry. I'm long-winded. So here, I've highlighted a couple password cracking tools. John the Ripper, it's Linux-based. Okay, initially it was Linux-based. How about that one? And it utilizes both dictionary and brute force to attempt to crack passwords. Now, given the right word list, this could be a pretty quick process. But it could also take years and years and years to try and brute force your way into getting the right path. So John the Ripper was developed to run on Unix-based systems, and there's a GUI, which stands for Graphical User Interface Version. It's called Johnny. Either way, they're quick, they're easy to use. There's like a John. It's all command line driven, so it's lightweight. It allows you to allocate more processing power to actually cracking the password. But it is efficient. I'll give them this. They are efficient, but there are better tools out there. Cain and Abel. I highlighted Cain and Abel because it's different from John. Cain and Abel was basically created to work solely on Windows. But Cain and Abel doesn't just crack passwords. Cain and Abel is actually, it's a two-part application. There's the Cain application, which does a lot of the front-end stuff, a lot of the web cracking, the ARP spoofing, the password sniffing on the network and stuff like that. That's all Cain. The second part of the application, Abel, is actually like it's the secret entrance. It's the back door. It's the network part of Cain and Abel. Abel would be the secret key, I guess. What's really cool though is when used in an enterprise environment, anyways, which I would presume would be the best place to use Cain and Abel would be an enterprise environment. Security administrator for an enterprise or big company. Big company. Crack LM hashes, yeah, version 2. Windows passwords. Oh, we can also crack Cisco passwords. OSPF, authentication protocols. RIP, version 2. MD 2, 4, 5, SHA 1 and 2. All right, so that's kind of impressive. So, oh, and by the way, like I said before, both Cain and Abel, though installed together, can run separate from each other. They don't require each other to actually work. And then there's ORFcrack. ORFcrack is a Windows password cracker. It's based for Windows, but instead of using dictionary or brute force, which I should define, dictionary goes through a list of words that you would find in a dictionary. All of them. Usually there's a character limit, so like 14 letters. Done. But it'll literally try them all as long as there's a word list to provide for it to go through. And it's usually, it's going to be words found in a dictionary. Brute force literally tries every character, number, letter, to however many characters you set it to. And this has actually caught my computer on fire last 2 semesters ago by allocating all of the cores in my processor, and then as well as my graphics card, and the power supply said nope. So yeah, I did that. So you got to be really careful. You actually probably shouldn't do any of this stuff at all. So anyways, then there's another way to crack passwords, and that's where we get into ORFcrack, with the utilization of rainbow tables. And the way rainbow tables work is so when a password is stored into a database, there is a hash. A hash is a one-way algorithm, essentially, that identifies that no data has changed. So you can use a hash to make sure that like if you take a hash like a file or a system, and then you take it again later, and both the hashes match up, then you know that nothing has changed. Everything's typically secure. Nobody's been in there. But what Rainbow Tables does is it takes a list of pre-existing known hash values, and it basically rolls through the list until it finds the hash that matches to the hash of the password that you're trying to crack. In fact, what's cool is that the password doesn't even have to be the same. It doesn't have to be the right password. As long as the hashes line up, as long as the hashes are the same, then you're in. And so it's called Rainbow Tables. And it's got to remain under 14 characters. It was really cool. Actually, the guy that created Orfcrack also invented Rainbow Tables. In fact, it was talking about that. So, okay, let's move on to web application attacks. These are way cooler. So there's a little demonstration of Burp Suite here, which is probably the coolest new tool that I have found to use. It's, in one of my opinions, probably the best web application penetration testing tools that there are. And it actually comes with a built-in proxy, a spider to be able to crawl web pages looking for new links, content, etc., a scanner to scan for known vulnerabilities, and an intruder function used for exploiting, fuzzying, carrying out brute force attacks against online web application password. Like right here, you can see username, password. We're going to go ahead and use a brute force intruder attack on the sucker. A repeater for being able to fuzz information, a sequencer, a decoder, a comparer. When Burp Suite, when combined with other tools like Hydra, which is another, well, it's a password cracker, but it's for online passwords. Burp Suite is a fantastically powerful tool. This is the damn vulnerable web application, and this essentially is a web application that serves one purpose only, and that is to let you attack it. So let's get into Metasploit. I say Metasploit is probably one of the best pivot tools when attacking a network, and I say pivot because what it allows you to do is in the middle of attack, it allows you, just like Burp Suite, to stop your attack, pivot, and move in a completely different direction. Metasploit is so successful because it largely relies on a huge framework of known vulnerabilities. It's essentially just a database of known attacks, and you can run, and you can essentially find and exploit an attack for just about any system out there. And lastly, the last tool would be Hydra. Hydra, like I said, is a network password cracker, but I've included it here because it mostly for cracking web applications. And it supports just about everything from Cisco to FTP to HTTP to GET to HTTP head to proxy to HTTP post, POP3, RDP, SIP, SMB, SMTP, SNMP, SSH, SOC5, and Telnet, of course, because Telnet knows clear text anyways. So here we're highlighting the attack vector. Okay, we're actually going to skip this part too. Alright, well, so there's that. Vandalism. Denial of service and distributed denial of service attacks render a machine or network inoperable by clogging up the machine or service with bogus requests, essentially causing a malfunction. You can file these tools under stress testers, but when used maliciously, they serve other purposes. So there's the famous attack against Scientology using the low orbit ion cannon. It was a devastating distributed denial of service used against, like I said, there's Scientology. The low orbit ion cannon, when combined with a botnet, crazy evil. Crazy evil. There's the XOIC, which is, I'm assuming the last 3 letters are orbit ion cannon. I'm not sure what it is. That claims to be more powerful than the low orbit ion cannon, and it gives you also the option to select IP port and protocol. And then there's Hulk. Just plain evil. Hulk stands for HTTP Unbearable Load King. It generates a unique request for every request to hide its true nature. So essentially, it's a distributed denial of service attack tool that hides itself and bounces around so you can't stop it. Evil. So, dangers. Password cracking, web application, and denial of service attacks. With password cracking, obviously there's piracy, ID theft, data theft, vandalism, credit card details, web application attacks, customer information, theft, vandalism, data manipulation, disruption of services. And then with, again, denial of service, there's the loss of functionality, potential loss of customers, loss of customer faith, irate customers, like me. And once again, I could also classify that as vandalism. So, real quick, let's talk about some prevention tools, how you can help limit the risk. Don't reuse passwords. Never write them down. Use characters, numbers, upper and lowercase letters. Educate yourself and your employees on how to identify risk or suspicious behavior. Firewalls, antivirus applications. And never, never, never open attachments from unknown people sent in emails. And that was it. Finn, get it? Sin, act, Finn? No? Okay. Questions, comments, concerns? The CEO of my own company, private parameter. You can hire me. All right. Good game. Thanks.